Today, our story in our Journeys book is Jellies, the Life of Jellyfish. So I want you to make sure that you have your Journeys book in front of you, and you're going to open your book to page 336, and we're going to read this along together, and I'm going to ask you some questions for you to think about and to maybe talk about with somebody at your house, okay? So our story, the author is Twig C. George. Twig C. George's love of nature began while she was growing up around her mom, writer Jean Greghead George. The George household had many unusual pets, including tarantulas, seagulls, crows, and a screech owl that liked to take showers. Twig George raises her children around nature too. Okay, so this story this week is an informational text, which, as you know, means that it gives us facts that are true. It tells us details and facts about a topic, and we can tell that it's true when we look at the pictures. There's photos that are real things, and we're going to read and learn about jellyfish. Jellies, the Life of Jellyfish by Twig C. George. If you were a jellyfish, you would have two choices, to go up or to go down. That's it. 2. You would not have a brain, so you could not decide what to have for breakfast or where to go for lunch. So I want you to think for a minute, what is strange about the way jellyfish move around? And what else have you learned about jellyfish already? The ocean currents would carry you along from place to place. In this way, you could travel hundreds of miles. Food might pass by you and might get caught in your tentacles, or not. So we already know that jellyfish can't move from side to side on their own. So based on the picture and on the text on that page that we just read, how do you think jellyfish get from one part of the ocean to another part of the ocean? I want you to think about that. Sea turtles, dolphins, and whale sharks would try to eat you. You wouldn't worry about it because you couldn't. You would just float on. Why do you think the author is wanting you to imagine that you're a jellyfish? You would protect yourself with millions of tiny mechanical cells that, when touched by another animal, release a chemical and sting, like a bow and arrow. You would not know if you were stinging a friend or an enemy. You would not even know what a friend or an enemy was. How can you use that text on page 341 that we just read to figure out the meaning of the word mechanical? And how can you use the text on that page to figure out the meaning of the word chemical? Jellyfish sting for protection and to catch food. That's all. They don't hunt and they don't chase. They just bump and sting, bump and sting. Some jellyfish sting gently. Some jellyfish have a sting so powerful that they are more dangerous than a cobra. These are the Australian box jellies. What is the main topic of the paragraphs on the pages we just read, on 342 and 343? What is the main topic there, and how do you know? Jellyfish are so simple that they look like plastic trash floating in the sea. When an animal eats a jellyfish, it stays healthy and strong. When an animal eats plastic, it gets weaker and weaker and eventually dies. Some jellyfish lie on the shallow bottom in clear, warm seas and grow their own food. These are called upside-down jellyfish. Once they have eaten small bits of algae just once, they can grow more inside their bodies by sitting in the sun. They are their own greenhouses and grocery stores all wrapped up into one. To be a jellyfish, you need to be shaped like a bell, with at least one mouth and tentacles. Many animals called jellyfish are really something else. The Portuguese man-of-war is not a real jellyfish. It has an air-filled bubble instead of a water-filled bell. How does that picture on page 346 help explain why the Portuguese man-of-war is not a jellyfish? Jellyfish are almost all water and a little protein. They look slimy and disgusting when they wash up on the beach. The author calls jellyfish that wash up on the beach disgusting. What other words can you think of that mean the same as disgusting? Why might the author feel that jellyfish are disgusting when they are washed up on the beach? In the sea, jellyfish are beautiful. There are jellyfish as big as basketballs with long red tentacles called West Coast sea nettles. On this page, the author compares jellyfish to something else. What does she compare them to? How does the comparison help you imagine the West Coast sea nettles? There are tiny, elegant jellyfish that look like a blizzard of snowflakes. Now the author is comparing jellyfish to something else. How does this new information help you to understand jellyfish? There are jellyfish that grow so big that they are as long as a blue whale. They are called Arctic lion's mane jellyfish. They pulse and drift. They eat and reproduce. They live and die, all without a brain or a heart. Why do you think a jellyfish just drifts along? What details does the author use to tell about the size of the Arctic lion's mane jellyfish? Someday you might be very lucky and see an ocean full of jellyfish. And since you have a brain and a heart, you would know you were seeing something unforgettable. Based on the information on the last page, how do you think the author feels about jellyfish? What text evidence helps you know the author's feelings? Okay, we will be doing more with this story all week. So make sure that you have read along with me and answered those questions with someone. Just talk about them with someone. And we will do more with the story again tomorrow.